a founder of Senstribe, and I'm here today to tell you about our mission to predict, prevent, and preserve. What do I mean by this? To elaborate a bit more, we're looking to predict falls using real-time, real-life, and personal data in order to prevent falls by enabling early intervention, in order to preserve independence and quality of life as we all age. Now I'm going to stray from my pitch a little bit and start off with a question because I never get to do this sort of thing before. So I'd like a show of hands. Who knows somebody over 65? I'm looking in the front row here anyway. Okay, think of that person. Think of the person you're closest to, and put up your hand if that person has fallen in the past year, or you know that person has fallen over in the past year. Interesting. Okay, cool. So statistically, 1 in 3 of you should have your hand up. 1 in 3 are ordered out to fall every year. But often we don't really see the signs until something serious happens, right? For me, when I put my hand up, that's my grandmother. My grandmother fell seriously twice, ended up in hospital. The second one, she never walked again. She was in aged care for the next 3 years and passed away, unfortunately. But my grandmother isn't... Sorry, that wasn't meant to happen. My grandma isn't a unique case, right? 140,000 elderly Australians end up in hospital every year. That's 1 every 4 minutes. And the real tragedy is this. Half of these falls can be prevented with timely intervention. But our issue is that we don't know when to provide this intervention. We don't have the right data. So that's our vision. Our vision is to try to understand when an intervention is required so that we can provide these interventions in a timely manner. What does that mean? Imagine somebody's fall risk looks like this. And typically, we only do something after somebody has fallen down already, right? But the reality is, this person's likely fallen a bunch of times before and had a bunch more near misses. So what happens if we could, imagine if we could pick up a near miss here and implement an intervention, reducing the risk of these falls for long periods of time and reducing the risk of this critical injury. And obviously this is really dear and personal to myself, but it's also a big thing in aged care at the moment as well. There's a new Aged Care Act that's coming in that's really increasing the mandates around falls reporting and falls management, individualized. And it's only going to change the aged care market increases, and people spend more and more time at home. And this is a really big thing for us. We've had 2 aged care providers at our really early stage provide $50,000 worth of their own resources in order to help us develop our product. So what is our product? Our product is probably pretty simple if you think about it. What we're trying to do is measure how people move, construct a falls prediction model to predict when they're going to fall, and then use that to provide timely intervention. So what's the secret sauce? Why are we interested here? The interesting thing here is that current wearables and current devices only detect movement. And movement is great for understanding what happened, but it's not good for understanding why it happened. And this is really critical in the context of falls. So imagine Tom, your elderly neighbor, walking down the street, and you suddenly pick up this massive change in his movement, right? Is that him tripping and falling and stabilizing himself? Or is that him dodging a dog that's running down the street, right? Context really matters when we talk about dynamic situations such as falls. And so that's what we're seeking to do. We're seeking to create a new model specifically around falls prevention and falls prediction, which takes into account both movement and contextual data together, providing unique insights into the ability to, unique insights to the falls prediction. So what does that mean? Ultimately, what we're aiming to do is move technology from falls detection to falls prevention. If you want to look at it another way, clinicians are great at preventing falls, but they have 2 major flaws. Number 1, they can't clone themselves, they're not completely scalable. And number 2, they're not omnipresent, they can't be there all the time. And so that's what we're trying to solve here. We are still early stage, and I acknowledge that right at the front. We don't have 600 million RMB in revenue, or billion RMB, or whatever that is. So we're still working out our a business model. But we're imagining 2 types of products geared towards either in care or at home, and at a price point which is sort of familiar with other technologies in the falls management space. Numbers, again, still working them out, but no matter where you look at it, whether you look at specifically a consumer market where individuals are looking at buying their own devices, or whether you're looking at aged care providers, specifically looking at aged care providers or people in aged care in countries with a high net worth, high worth countries, and government-funded aged care as well, there's still a significant market we think that can be addressed by a product like this. And obviously, things are changing and changing very rapidly over time. As I said, where are we now at the moment? We've partnered two really innovative aged care providers, and we're running feasibility trials in a couple of weeks actually, which is really exciting for us. And we're continuing exploring to get more partners on board as well. I myself, I've spent the last decade or so developing devices for physiotherapy and occupational therapy. Whoops, thank you. Physiotherapy and occupational therapy, including a robot for stroke rehab, which has been commercialized a couple of years ago. Tommy is a AI expert. He's a resident AI guy. Unfortunately, he's not here today. He should be pitching. He's got a lot of experience in developing models for medical diagnosis. And Mingray is our gun device engineer, a lot of experience in algorithms for movement analysis and wearables. And obviously strongly supported by a large advisory panel as well. So what are we looking at now? Currently, we're developing proof of concept, which has been funded by a government grant at the moment, which is very exciting for us. We are looking to raise a pre-seed fund in the next few months, where we were looking at doing some alpha pilots, where we're really looking to understand adherence and usability of the device, allowing us to scale into a larger rollout, get regulatory approval as that's required, and really collect the data required to build the model itself. 30 seconds. Okay, awesome. Two asks today. Number one is talk to people. Talk to your 65-year-old friends about falls prevention. They might not need it now, but it is something that's a bit silent, and we really need to understand that a bit more. This is a link to a government website which has a lot of resources around falls prevention techniques and interventions. On our side, I'd love you to help us out if we can. If anyone knows anyone in aged care that would be interested in having a chat, would more than love that. And if you're an investor that might be interested in talking with us a little bit more and understanding a bit more about the project and giving some feedback on the project, that'd be really good. Anyway, that's it, so thank you.
Thank you. Please welcome. Hello. Please welcome our judges to ask questions.
Question. I think it was a lot of hands up in the audience, so well done. Could you talk a little bit more detail about the sort of product and maybe the kind of form factor, the hardware piece, and how you envision that, and then also the kind of maybe the biometric data that you're sort of looking for to do some of these predictions? Yeah,
absolutely. So the product is actually a really interesting question, and it's something that's our understanding has changed over the last little bit. We have been, if you go back to our proof of concept, our current study, what we're looking at is throwing a whole bunch of sensors over somebody's body and you're really trying to use that to identify which sensors give us good information around falls and falls predictions. We don't know, and what we've realized a little bit more is that's different for every individual. Everyone sort of different preferences. So it could, in our case, it could be something like a pair of smart glasses. It could be a pendant. One which we're really interested in, one we're piloting at the moment, is actually a walking frame. A walking frame gives you forward access and also backward access to monitor how people are moving as well.
And so it's really kind of relying on kinetic data as opposed to maybe sort of scanning for arrhythmia or something like that?
Yeah, at the moment, yes, kinetic. The idea being that a fall is a physical phenomenon. And so even if there are other contributors to somebody's imbalance or somebody's lack of stability, we should be able to recognize that within the kinetic data itself.
That makes sense.
Probably a clarification here. So when you say prevention, at what level through the data you try to identify the disease they have, or you try to identify some things in the environment that you need to remove? Both.
Really good point. So we know that fall is a result of both intrinsic and extrinsic parameters, right? And so that could be things on the ground that people are more likely to trip over. Or it could be somebody sort of losing strength in their ability. And so the idea is that the system is able to both identify both extrinsic and intrinsic things and then use that to inform interventions, which hopefully lead to a reduction in falls.
Thank you, Justin.
Well done, the pitch. I'm just wondering, about the financial projections, because I think maybe it's a long way for you to prove your business models and something like that. So could you tell us more about a roadmap and also financial projections? Thank you.
You're right. It's a lot. It is a bit of a roadmap. So currently, at the moment, as I said, we're funded by a government grant, which is fantastic. Longer term, we are looking for investment. I'm sorry, I actually don't know what you mean by financial protections, so I'm stalling a bit. 600 million. Okay. So let's talk about iterations. Let's talk about how we're going to get there and short term. So our plan is short term to try to roll out something which is a little bit smaller, not necessarily predicting falls to start with, but dealing a little bit more with reablement and really geared towards aged care and egg care providers, where they don't just care about a reduction in falls, but they care about keeping their clients happy, keeping their clients engaged, keeping clients healthy, and in that in itself builds a better community amongst the thing, but also reduces obviously the treatment costs and healthcare costs as well. So short term, we think that with the initial pilots, we'll be able to roll out something which might generate a little bit of revenue towards those goals. And this will hopefully get to this point where we can collect sufficient data in order to produce a robust model, which will enable us to make these projections.
Awesome. Thank you. Good pitch. So I guess doubling on what Connie's saying around the commercial model. So walk me through it. Is it like are you starting off with sort of hardware and then you intend to do a software and licensing, or just?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think initially there will be a small hardware piece. We're trying to keep away from that as much as possible and use as much off-the-shelf stuff as we can. We're not sure yet, to be fair, which one exactly that is. But what we do think is that there will be different options for different people. And so it might be for some people, we might be able to get away with an off-the-shelf pair of glasses, which will have motion sensors and cameras and things like that. We might be able to use room-based cameras to look at context and understand how people are moving from that perspective. But yeah, ultimately, I guess the data which is generated and the things, 30 seconds, great. The data generated in the model is generated, we hope will be sort of robust across different data types and different sorts of devices.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, good. Thank you. Thanks very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much. And now let's welcome Team 4, Rehabilitation, and welcome presenter Lisa. Simon. Oh, Simon, okay.
I'll pretend to be Lisa.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll get